Well, hello there and welcome back. This is episode 32 of my Minecraft 1.15 Let's Play. I'm up at the very top of the nether. I've been AFKing at my zombie pigman gold farm here. I ran out of gold almost completely when I set up all those rails for my nether wart farm. The last time I was here was when I was setting up moving around all the shulkers, and I needed a bunch of gold for those rails, and I AFK'd here overnight, and when I got here in the morning, all the turtle eggs were gone. I don't know exactly what happened to them, but I didn't have any extra turtle eggs at the time, so I decided what it might be interesting to do is to actually move this over, change it over to be a zombie pigman XP farm, and Ilmenco has a really cool version that delivers the maximum possible XP that a player can collect. But I was playing with that in the world download, and there are quite a few tweaks. There's certain things that just don't work in this version of Minecraft anymore, and with 1.16 coming up in a few months, I'm not sure if it's worth the effort to try and fix everything there, because almost any zombie pigman farm I create is going to be broken with 1.16. So I happen to have some extra turtle eggs this time around because I was building my netherwart farm, ran out of gold almost completely, and so I came back here and I set up the turtle eggs again. I've been AFKing a bit. Hopefully I have a decent stash of gold down there. I was going to work on this episode, but I've got another idea instead, and I might come back to this, but for now I'm just not sure if it's worth doing. It might be, it might not be. We'll see what happens. One of my viewers was going through Fallen Breath's YouTube channel recently. Fallen Breath was the YouTuber that posted the Nether World Eater as well as the Nether Tunnel Borer that I used in recent episodes, and they came upon this machine right here. And what this is a wither killer. So what you would do is you'd stand over here, you'd flip the switch on, and it's going to dispense soul sand to you, and then you would hold the button down right here, and it's just going to create a whole bunch of withers. And they're all in a cage. They're all enclosed in the bedrock over there. And then they should start taking damage slowly. I think it's just suffocation damage. It's actually a pretty slow process for them to die. If you do a bunch of this, then they will take damage a little bit faster because you get entity cramming going on. But then eventually enough of them will die that you won't get entity cramming going on. Yep, see, so now it's happening faster. But eventually, after the first few die, it'll start going slower again. So this does take a little while, but it generates something like 4,700 nether stars per hour. Obviously, assuming you have that many wither skeleton skulls, which I don't. But, I mean, I could easily just Jew all of my wither skeleton skulls all at once and get rid of them all. And that would be kind of cool. And it's just kind of a cool machine. I mean, just look at it go. That's pretty cool. There's actually a smaller version over here because, oh, I forgot to turn it off. There's a smaller version because this has actually got a double choker loader for soul sand, and it's actually got a double choker loader for the nether wither skeleton skulls, which is complete overkill. So this machine over here just uses basic chests here, so you'd have to separate them all out. That's fine by me. I could probably just use the hopper and the droppers right there and be fine. I think, though, that you were a little bit close here, so if I went into survival mode on this one, then I would probably get blown up. Let's see what happens when I do that. Yeah, I'm too close. I would yeah, this would take a lot of damage, especially if you keep operating it and you keep running it, then you would eventually just die from all the explosions. So what I can do is I can set up this whole path right here where it's got this thing, and then turn it and then go there. That'll keep you far enough away, but then I don't need the rest of all this extra stuff, which some of this would actually go above the nether roof. So the real challenge here is we need to find this 3x3 of bedrock, and that actually might be a little bit difficult. So let's start there. So I'm in creative, and unfortunately people used to keep a long list of all the locations that you could find a 3x3 in the bedrock roof, but those all changed in 1.13, and people started using the portal in the end to kill their withers, so nobody really seems to keep the list of that anymore. So unfortunately, I had to clear out a big section of the end. I actually just used Lightmatica. You can create a new area selection, and then you can configure it and just set the coordinates, and then you can use its replace mode, and you can shift click the block that you wanted to replace. So shift middle click, and then you can alt middle click the block you want to replace it with, so air, and then if you press your execute button, it will execute that command, and it'll take a second. So it's missing some chunks because I've got a big area, so I can't see all the chunks. But I did that with netherrack, and so I've got a nice big clear area here. And I'm going through and I'm trying to find one. I've been at this for a little bit, and I'm not actually having much luck. What I might have to do is, Fallen Breast got some new videos on how you can break blocks of bedrock horizontally. So maybe if I find one where I've just got to break a few blocks horizontally to get blocks out of the way, that might be the route I have to go with. Here's one of the best I've found so far. This is a 3x3 that's covered by 2 blocks in bedrock right here, but it's pretty deep up in the bedrock, and some of the other parts of the machine are actually going to have to go up next to it in the bedrock, and so I'm probably actually going to end up breaking quite a few blocks. But also, these lower blocks tend to have a lot of air blocks inside of them, and I need this to be solid, so let's actually use Lightmatica to test it out. And then let's go up 3, so we got a 3x3, and then let's go into the area selection browser and configure, analyze area. We got 25. We should have 27. So according to the comments, it can be a 2x3x3, the top level, but we can't have this air block right here. So this one will not work. We can't have this air block right here. We can have air blocks in the top level, which should actually be the nether roof, so there wouldn't be any air blocks. All right, so something to keep in mind. All right, at this point I've stopped using Lightmatica and I'm just punching holes. Yep, so this one isn't going to work. Might as well just punch holes in the nether roof and see if I can find a spot, because I'll take whatever I can get at this point. So I'm not having a whole lot of luck with this so far. So before I get too carried away with what I'm doing, I want to make sure what I'm doing is actually valid. So I want to make sure that the nethers, because it used to be that all nether roofs were exactly the same, and I think that's still the case, but I need to check and make sure. So what I'm going to do is, this is at 0, 0 right here. So I'm going to go to 0, 0 in my survival world, and I'm going to look for this Tetris-like shape. And if I face in a positive X direction, I should be able to get this small L right here that protrudes down, and then it goes a little bit to the corner. So I'm going to look for those basic shapes at 0, 0 in my survival world and make sure that my nether roof is actually the same as this. Yep, it looks like they are exactly the same. So this is 0, 0 right here, and here we have the Tetris shape facing positive X, and then here's the little plus, and it goes off into this corner. So yeah, it looks like they are exactly the same, so that's great. So now I'm just going to remove the first layer of bedrock. I'm pretty sure there are no 3x3s anywhere in the first layer of bedrock, so it's just kind of obstructing my view. Hopefully I don't have too much trouble removing that layer of bedrock, and this will give me a nicer view at what's going on underneath it. So let's just do that. And hopefully we can find something now. It actually helps quite a bit to use Lightmatica to select the next level up, and then I can see just that level, and I'm looking for 3x3s, and then I can check them all out individually. It makes them really stand out if there are any. All right, it appears that I found a 3x3x4. I got to make sure that it's not hollow in the middle. It is, of course it is. All right, let's find another one. Don't be hollow in the middle. 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 Hey. All right. All right. So I found one. That's fabulous. So we can actually, doesn't really matter if I put it back or not. So let me grab these coordinates here. So we're looking at 180 by 280. And then I will go to this in survival. I'm going to have to break a lot of bedrock in order to get at this, but at least I can get at it. And I should be able to do this. Hopefully the breaking the bedrock isn't too bad. Alright, so I found the spot here in the nether. So we're looking at 180, 281. This is this center block right here. So there's actually only like 4 blocks in the way directly. Although once we start building machines, some of these other blocks are going to be in the way as well. But let's start with this one right here. This one should be one of the easier ones to remove. And let's set up one of these machines. He's got a few machines, so I think I can figure out which one fits the best in each situation. And let's go from there. All the other methods, except for this one, require 2 blocks of air either above the block where the piston is right there or above the block where the switch is right here. And I don't have that. That's actually going to be pretty hard to come by in general unless I start breaking blocks up from the ceiling. This method, fortunately, doesn't require that. It does require more blocks going in this direction. So I don't know if this is going to work for everything. This method actually can break blocks upwards as well, which is kind of cool. So what we got to do is, I'm pretty sure it's more reliable if we use obsidian versus any other block. And then I would hit this switch and then I would stand right here. And I'm going to try this without using an auto clicker. So the idea is that I would sit here and I would spam click to try and place a block so that as soon as the explosion goes off, I'm placing a block right there, a piston facing towards this block, and then it should break the bedrock. Let's go full blast protection here. And then we can hit this switch. Let's see if this works. Oops, that's not going to work at all. All right, I barely took any damage. That's a good sign. I am going to lose quite a few pistons to this, though. All right, let's try that again. Another benefit of using them sitting in here. And let's place command spam clicking. And it did not work. Okay, let's try again. Hopefully the third time's a charm. Might not have been placed close enough. Come on. For some reason this piston isn't getting blown up, which is very strange. I was actually forgetting to put a solid block underneath this TNT here. So that, because otherwise it was just falling down. And it actually made a big old crater here, which is why I started patching the floor. And I dropped obsidian over here. Don't want to lose out on any obsidian. And then hopefully we don't screw this up again. And yeah, oops. All right, this time let's be careful of placing the piston in the wrong spot. Something, no, it didn't quite work. That actually, like, that's kind of what you want to see, but it didn't blow up the bedrock. It's very strange. I think my timing was just off that time, so let's try it again. I think that worked. That actually, yes, that works. So it's gone. All right, the next bedrock block would be this one right here. But let's see if we can get this one out of the way first, and then we can get at this one a little bit easier. I can actually use any of the other methods for this one. I got plenty of air above this piston right here, but I think I'd rather just use the same method, and then hopefully I can get better at doing it over and over again. I think I have everything right. I'm sure I'm find out I'm wrong. And that actually worked. Fantastic. All right, I got all of them out of the way. So this is our center block right here. It actually didn't take too long. It probably would have gone a little bit faster if I had used an auto clicker, but I wanted to see if it could be done without an auto clicker. And it's not actually that difficult. So now what I need to do is I need to set up my Lightmatica template for this and figure out, I can lay that over this area right here and figure out what additional blocks I'm going to have to get out of the way. Okay, so I've got this template all laid out and it looks like I've got my work cut out for me. So there's quite a bit over here on this side and then over on this side as well. It's hard to see what's going on here, but yeah, there's actually even some blocks that go above this 3x3. So hopefully I can get at them. If I can't get that breaking upwards one to go, I might have to come from the top of the nether roof and break down. But I've got to clear out a decent area here. And then over here, it's not so bad here. I'm not even sure that any of these blocks are in the way. Maybe one or two of them. And then over here, we got a couple blocks that are in the way over here as well. So yeah, definitely got my work cut out for me. But let's see if we can start clearing some of this out. I've been working at this a while and I started to notice I was taking a lot of damage. And then I looked and noticed that I've basically blown my armor to bits. I did make 2 other sets of this armor, but unfortunately I left them back in my base. I think I've got all the blocks cleared out for the main wither killing area. So you can see here I put obsidian underneath the 3x3 area. That way I didn't lose track of it and accidentally end up breaking one of the blocks above it. That would be very, very bad. And if we come over to this side here and back here, you can see I've done quite a bit of clearing out here. And if I turn the template on, you can see these pink blocks. That just means that the template expects there to be air and there's bedrock instead, and that's not going to cause any problems. What we're looking at is we're looking for these red blocks. And so this one, you can see in the upper left hand corner, it expects there to be redstone wire, but there's obsidian. I'll deal with that later. I've got like this mountain of obsidian that is accumulated from all the bedrock breaking that I've done, and so I'll clear that out later. But for now, I need to move on to the other sections of this. If we come over here to this side, we can see there's still some bedrock blocks that need to be broken. So let me place a piston under those. Now I did end up using an auto clicker. You can do this again without an auto clicker, but when you're doing the volume of bedrock breaking that I have done, it's just not consistent enough to try and do it by hand. So I ended up using an auto clicker. It's called Tweakaroo. It's the client-side mod. It's the same mod that Fallen Breath used in his video, and it works really well, and it's 100% consistent, barring human error, when you're actually using the auto clicker. And I also am able to do the breaking blocks above like this. I wasn't able to do that by hand, but with the auto clicker, it works pretty much 100% of the time. So you got to go into the settings and set up a hotkey for it. And then once you do that, you can just turn it on and off with those hotkeys. And then if I flick this switch and then I come over here and I'm auto clicking, and there we go, 100% of the time. All right, I'm pretty sure I got all the bedrock out of the way, and I've cleared out all the obsidian over here, so the hard part's done. I missed some obsidian over here. I'll take care of that. But yeah, the hard part's done. I mean, this machine is not really that complicated, so let's get it all built up. So here's one spot where the bedrock should definitely be air. So this iron trapdoor is not supposed to be doing that, but it's actually transmitting the redstone signal through that bedrock block. And so that's a little bit of a problem. I'm probably going to have to get rid of that, and that means I'm going to end up blowing up some of the stuff that I've already set up, but it's got to go. This machine has like 3 different bud circuits in it, so if you place blocks in the wrong order, you'll end up firing off those bud circuits, and then everything will end up in the wrong state. Like you'll have pistons extended when they're not supposed to be, and you'll have to remove redstone and try and figure out how to get everything back in the right state. And I believe I've done so. Everything looks good here. So let's turn off the template. We'll go into the schematic verifier and make sure that everything's working right. So I got a bedrock where it's supposed to be a white stained glass. I know about that. I'll show you that in a second. We've got some shulker boxes. I should probably remove those. I've got an extra piston. I don't know how I have an extra piston. And then netherrack, lava block, ender chest. Not really worried about the ender chest. And I'm missing a sign. Other than that, so we can ignore all of these things. And I don't know where it's with the extra piston. Let's go remove the shulker boxes just in case. Get rid of those. And ender chest is fine. There's supposed to be a sign on there. And where is this piston? I do not see. It should be highlighting it. It's probably like up in the bedrock, like a piston I left when I was setting up the bedrock. Yeah, I don't see a piston extra anywhere. So what we can do, I don't have any skulls in there yet, so I should be able to turn this on. Do I have soul sand anywhere? Where is soul sand? And if I place 4 soul sand, we should end up with the shape of a wither skeleton. Wither. If we do 1, 2, 3, 4, hopefully we end up, yep, shape of a wither right there. So I don't know where that extra piston is. I think the worst case scenario, since it doesn't rely on the redstone to actually create the, to cage the wither, the redstone has nothing to do with caging the wither. The wither is just caged because of this cobblestone fence right here and the bedrock itself. So I think the worst case scenario is that it doesn't create a wither. I don't think we can really have any problems other than that. But I'm still going to do it. I'm going to do a test where I'm just going to do 1. I've come back to my wither skeleton farm and I've done another AFK overnight session. So let's see how well these dogs did. I also changed it over so it's no longer collecting any of the bone, it's just throwing them all away. I just could not deal with all those bones. So what do we got over here? We got, holy crap, we got 5 stacks of wither skeleton skulls and 4.5 stacks of wither skeleton skulls. This thing is awesome. Let's get rid of these swords in my inventory. And yeah, I think that should do it. And then what did we have before? 600. And so we got another 10 stacks. So it looks like we got another 600. I have 1,273 wither skeleton skulls. This will make 424 withers. Alright, I got just 3 wither skeleton skulls on me. So let's put one in each of these. This is a little scary. I think everything should go pretty well, though. Let's come over here. Actually, I do have a kit that just in case everything goes wrong. It should be good enough. Hopefully nothing goes wrong. So we 1, 2, 3, 4, and nothing. Well, it moved the skulls into these dispensers here, so maybe I should have queued them up in the dispensers instead, but I think I'm just going to give it another try, so I think that's everything back to normal. And then if we come over here, let's try one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go, we got a wither. Let's stay away from the explosion for a second, and then we can actually walk up and go look at him. There we go. Alright, is he trapped? He's trapped. And he's slowly taking damage, so I'm going to wait until he completely dies before I try anything else. Alright, we got ourselves 1 dead wither and a nether star, so that's fantastic. So let's go a little bit further with this. So, cleared out my inventory a little bit. Let's go kind of full bore. I'm not going to go full bore just yet because I have a concern about doing that. But we can at least test it out a little bit. Let's just put a stack in each dispenser and then we can put the rest in the back. And then we've got to climb up here and let's divvy up all these guys. So should be 3. Looks like it's 4. And then looks like we got another stack. And that should be an even split so far. And then we got to split this one 3 ways. Like so. That should do it. Alright, and then let me grab another stack of soul sand because this won't create enough for the entity cramming to happen. Do 2 stacks. See how that works. Alright, let's just go full bore on this. Alright, this is where it gets scary. I shouldn't take any damage from the explosions. I should be far enough away that I don't have to worry about any of this. Should start taking damage really quickly. Yep, so that's a good sign. That means they're entity cramming, so they're definitely... Oh, it's getting really loud too. Fabulous. So my concern is what happens when you run out of wither skulls in this and you keep placing soul sand and it hits the push limit. Does it push them into the withers? Are they then able to get out? What happens there? So I want to figure that out. So I've got just 4 in here because we want to have some withers in there when this happens. If I turn this on and let's go for it. Why is it not working? There we go. And I just keep placing soul sand. It does this. Okay. It makes a big old mess. It kind of ruins the machine. It doesn't appear that they get out. I still kind of would rather... I think I might count my soul sand and make sure that I have the exact amount of soul sand so that this doesn't happen, just in case. I got enough skulls for 392 withers with 1 extra skull. And so I did the math, and that's going to be 24 and a half, exactly 24 and a half stacks of soul sand. All right, so 18 plus 6, 24 and a half. It's time to go ham. Let's just go full bore on this thing. They actually die really quick when you're doing this. Look at them go. This is my last batch of soul sand right here. Looks like I didn't hit any push limits. Oop, there's still new withers forming. Safe now? Yep. Looks like we're good. Yep, no push limits. And they should start dying a little more slowly soon. Yep. So there's less than 24 in there now. Alright, we're down to the last 3 dying here. And so we've got 6 stacks of nether stars so far. So let's actually grab all those, put them with the rest. We can grab the last 3 in a second here. Look at that. Almost, we got 8.5 stacks. Now you may be asking, what am I going to do with all these nether stars? They're not really all that useful. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make it rain. So if I set up a bunch of repeaters with somewhat random intervals here, and then I just need a simple clock. And a way to turn it on and off. So let's give this a shot. Thanks for watching.